going, guys? Spin this around. There we go. Bondo. Let's see what else we got going on here. That's what I do with this. Back this up. Show it to you. I did the Bondo work down here first. Then I put the screed on it last night, and then I went to bed. I didn't bother to start working on it. So what I like to do is, I haven't had a problem with Bondo ever shrinking on me like I have with other body fillers. 1990 icing was really bad. It wouldn't shrink, it would rise almost like yeast. And I don't want Bondo or anything to shrink or rise. So I always give it about 8 or 9 hours, 12 hours sometimes. And it's been at least 12 hours since I put this last little bit of Bondo on. So, and it's done after this, after I sand it a little bit. These are all done and finished. The super glue, I get the super glue, I open the top of it and I dig some out because I've tried to make it come out of the cap on these quite a few times, and I just don't, because air or something inside. Anyway, it's easier just to open the whole cap, take a big glob out of there, and then I put it on the hood as my pallet, and then I cut down, so they're stuck to it. I cut down several of these and use them as a Bondo squeegee in miniature scale, and I'll take a swath out of the super glue, and I'll hold the body upside down because I don't want this lip here to get in my way. So I'll brush it on like that, and I'll take more, and I'll keep putting it in there until the whole seam is filled up. I see I got some Bondo work to do right there to sand it a little bit. Let me bring this up some. All right. And I screed it on that way, and I screed it all inside here, and I'll take it and take another swath and stick it in there, and then just work it around the edges. Anything to keep this bodywork from telegraphing through my paint. I don't want any of that going on. Regular model glue doesn't do it. And like I said, this particular, it's so thin it only has one side. They sent me 4 sheets of these, but they measured all 4, and it came to 0.2. And I measured that out with the micrometer, and I thought, wow, that's too thick. Well, they were measuring them all together. I don't even know what this measured out to, but I used several layers. With this on the back, I used 3 layers in there. Each time I glue them together with regular glue, but I don't get it near the edges. That I want to be able to screed in with the little Bondo squeegee, and it gets in there. Let's see what we got here. I think I'm getting too old. No? Yeah. 0.01 is the thickness of this stuff. Turn this off. Is the thickness of this, but that's not how the Amazonians sell it. I cut up my cardboard and I keep it in a nice felt bag, but that's how I mix my Bondo schlock. I put a little bit on there we go. It's a Cheez-Its. And I hate to waste that because it's been sitting out. Let me put it back in there. I don't waste anything, not even a drop of water. Everything is recycled, reused until it has no use. And if it goes into the garbage, it has no use at all. Okay. But it's what I use is a cutoff. It's a cutoff brush, paintbrush handle. And I use that to mix my Bondo. Let's see if I got a handle like that over here. Yeah. It's just that with it cut off. I should have cut it higher so it would stick up a little bit more. But that's really all it is an El Cheapo. I mean, that brush is useless. It's too coarse for anything I would ever even think of using. Maybe some stain or motor oil or something like that. Anything short of that, that's too bristly, too coarse of a bristle for any paint work. Okay, that got put back. Now, I'll show you about this. Is what I do is I get all the air out of it, or as much as I can, before it starts to come out or anything. Put the cap back on it. I'll squish it back and forth to stir it, because that's the thing I hate, is when it all starts to come out like water, because you're getting rid of all your chemicals that mix together for it to harden your Bondo schlock. And then I'll run it between my hands like this. And then I use it. But as what I do is when I have a little bit of mount on the board, I squeeze it out just a hair, so where just a little drop, like half a drop comes out. Put this back down there. Then I'll hurry up and mix it up. I'll throw it off to the side, and then I'll grab a different one, but I make sure it's got a nice sharp edge. Not like this. There. Straight across, sharp edge. It'll screed perfectly for Bondo schlock. And I never really have any problems. And the only thing I ever use this for is only an emergency. Let's say I've got pinholes like this. Let's say I got pinholes like this that show up after I prime it. While the primer is still fresh, I'll screed a little bit of this in those little pinholes. And that's all. I don't try to build anything with it. Don't try to build up anything with it. That's not what it's intended for. That's just primer. It's red oxide primer with no lacquer thinner in it. It's really all it is. It ain't anything any more special than that. Let's see. And these, Tammy got these from the Amazonians, and they work really good on everything. I use them to put in windshields and all sorts of stuff like that. There's a cat hair on it. I use them to clamp in the windshields like that. They work really good, and then I go around the inside of it with Mod Podge, and it works out really good every time. So I can't stress enough how important little clips like that are. All right. All right. Let's see, what else do I want to show you? I'm going to show you a few different things here. A few different things. I always use two razors to clean up. Each razor cleans the other one. So even if they have a dull edge, that's even better. That way you don't get cut on those things. That's how I strip down an entire car. Real car is just with a razor blade. So I've been using them like that for a very long time, and it works really good. Okay, what else I want to show you? Yeah, the multi Maverick is still affordable. It's only like $32 or whatever, free shipping on in the Amazonian channel, and 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 that's affordable to me. Um, uh, Maverick models were always really hard to get. The Johans were always really hard to get way back in '06 when I bought tons of them. And, and now the only ones I can get my hands on are these. Are affordable, but they look terrible. They look terrible from how you're supposed to do them. And that's the long hood scoop is just terrible. It's a huge piece of real estate, and it's as high, pretty close to as high as the roof line because they've chopped the top. And I'm not going to try to unchop the top, but the Maverick looks better without the top chop. My son tried to talk me into chopping the top on my last Maverick, my last real Maverick. When I modified the roof and put a Maverick hood with the Maverick power bulge down the middle of the hood or the roof line because it had a vinyl top and it rusted the roof, but it was a relatively rust-free Oklahoma car. The vinyl top had destroyed the roof, so I needed some nice new steel, which was its hood. When I got the grabber hood to put on the car, it left me with a nice piece of steel to use and put in there, and then I was able to put a bunch more panel paint and all my flames and everything on the roof then, which it wouldn't have had if I hadn't. So I did that, and I was modifying it. And he came over. He goes, "Oh yeah, Dad chopped the top on that." I said, "Oh wait a minute, Kelly." I said, I went in the house. I grabbed my multi Maverick model. In fact, I don't think it was even the multi Maverick. I had a different one. I had several different ones. One of them was called the Warhorse. I was thinking Warlock, Warlords. Warlords is a '70 Camaro, a funny car. No, it was the Warhorse, which it's molded. The plastic is molded in a dark blue, and it has yellow decals that absolutely suck. That blue bleeds through. Once you put the decals on, the decals aren't very good. So I went through my Warhorse and I painted behind where it was going to be all decal. I painted that white, and then I painted the rest of the body blue. Put the decals on, then I cleared it, and it turned out beautiful. But I had to keep the yucky cutout wheel wells and keep all the nasty stuff I hated. But my multi Mavericks, I've always modified them like this because I can't have anything that turns out like the Warhorse did, or else, yeah, I'm not gonna want to collect it. I'm not gonna want it on my shelf with my other models. It just don't belong there. To me, it don't. Not in my collection. That's just how I feel about those. They've modified them too many modifications that are bad, taking it in all the wrong directions. But the stock, relatively stock, except for chopped top, really doesn't look bad at all if you give it its stock dimensions with its wheels. The thing is this area here above the front wheel well is relatively short on the Maverick. It isn't on any other car that I've been around. it's relatively short. So I use a small 14-inch wheel on the front of the real car. In the back, it has such a high, it's very high from the top of the wheel arch up, that you have to put like a 27-inch tire, not rim. If you do the rims, then it just makes the car look short. And if a person puts dubs on a Maverick, it absolutely kills it. It makes the body look too short. You got to put 15-inch by about 10 inches wide mags on the back, and then put some air shocks on it and shackles and traction bars to really make the bugger lock up. Because that first Maverick I had in '86 would do wheelie stands. I mean, it wouldn't just pop in a wheelie. It would be wheelie stands. And Dave Hands, I saw him do it in my car, and I thought, man, I was 18 years old. I'm a young kid. I'm like, man, I own a car that can do that. So I was looking at the bottom of my car when he backed up to a fence and did that with that yellow one that I had. That thing was massive. And since I've been 18 years old, I've been hooked on the Maverick. It's absolutely gorgeous. Nice fastback, sports roof, right from the factory. All of them had it, except for the 4 doors, which I'm never going to be talking about a 4-door because that body's really ruined. They've extended the wheel wells out too far, and just they've ruined too many things on what is really a masterpiece. When Ford designed the Maverick in '69 for the 70 production year, it was to be the Mustang, the new Mustang. And the higher ups said absolutely not. And they went a different route, and they went with big. In 1971, the next year, they went with a very, very large Mustang, these cats. So they were going in a whole different direction, but that still leaves the Maverick, in my mind, as being what was supposed to be the next Mustang, and not that. That is the Cougar in my mind. But anyway, I digress. Okay. Well, I just wanted to let you know that I'll be sanding this, and that will be, I will have let the Bondo shrink for as many hours as I normally do. I know it never shrinks on me at all. That's why I use Bondo brand, because I don't like any of the other body fillers. They shrink. The polyester stuff, it shrinks and rises and does all sorts of stuff I don't want it to do. So I don't want it to move around. I want it to be exactly like I have it. And then that's it. Next time you see this, hopefully it'll be painted. But that's the only body mods I do. And then I cut the chin spoiler down from the center. I cut out a chunk on each side. I snip it in the middle first, cut out about an eighth on each side, snip it with my nippers. I glue each side into place, and then I use the little pieces that I nipped. The little parts that I nipped, I put them back here as a brace, and then I just glue them. I don't use any bond. I don't even use super glue, because I always super glue my fingers to the roof of a car. I haven't on this one because I use the gel, not the stuff that runs around and stuff. And I put it up here and I use it that way. And I really never have a problem with this stuff. But all the other ones I always have. And I always glue my fingers to the roof of the car. But this one here is just about finished. And it's time to start getting some thoughts in my mind of what kind of graphics I want on it. But I do want to call it a multi-Maverick, though. I just want it to be spicier. I want flake in it. I want some sparkle and some pizzazz. Because to not have that, I think it was just a wasted opportunity. Okay, guys, I think I'll leave you with that, and have a super great Sunday. Okay, bye-bye.